So what's happening there then? So you're talking about something, and then I haven't thought about that probably for 30 years, because I was a young child when I saw this happen. So why did that come up?
Well, I assume you got triggered by
So
it.
what's going on? What's going on? Like, what brings that up? I'm like,
Oh, so actually, no, this is a learning tool. So for people, there's a guy who remembered the longest amount of the number for pi. So although we know pi is 3.14, it actually just goes on and on and on and on and on. It's a never-ending number. But they've got it now. I think they've worked it out down to something crazy, the amount of numbers of pi. And someone remembered it off memory up to this crazy, crazy number. He's got the world record for it. And they asked him about his process for just, basically building this memory. And it's about memory through association, because it's our natural way of remembering things. So the reason that this has flicked up this old memory for you is that your brain has attached it to whatever it was that I brought up. So my thing about that was, I probably said something along the lines of, that was this close, or it was a hair away, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's clicked something in an old memory because we've got these memories in the back of our brain that are kind of like, imagine them like boxes in the attic. They're covered in dust, and you have to like blow the dust off to even see what's in them. And we can make associations. So if you ever want to remember things, and you might know stuff like this through learning things like music, you learn word associations to help trigger the memory to bring things up to your brain. So it's word associated memory. That's what's going on.
That's triggered another box that's opened with a memory when I was at school, and it was in assembly. And it's probably the only assembly I can remember, because maybe it was the only teacher that managed to get through to us at any time. And they did this exact exercise, and they wanted us to remember 10 items. So you had to remember a golf club, a teddy bear, a toothbrush, all random items in a certain order as well. And when he says it straight away, you can't remember. Past 4, it's like you forget what number 1 was. And then he said, all right, now think of all the rooms in your house, from the bathroom to your bedroom to the wardrobe. Think of 10 different places. May start at your front door, and put the item that I say at that point at the door, and then go into the next room and put the next item in the next room. And then we went around the whole house, and we were able to remember all the items by association, like you said.
Yeah, but it's powerful. And I think a lot of the stuff that we experience like that, where things flick up and you go, oh, I haven't thought about that, or I haven't heard that for a long time. That's what that is. And it's the same reason why we have real powerful associations with certain smells or certain songs or certain tastes, because they bring us back to places very suddenly. You eat a certain meal from a certain restaurant, and it just brings you back to your childhood or whatever it is.
Time,
Ratatouille. You've seen that film with the kids?
Yes,
yeah. When he eats the thing and it zaps him back to his childhood.
Yes, yeah. I know the scene now. Yeah.
I think it's those kind of things.
So, because my brain is now like getting squidgy and thinking about this, we talked about like soul and mind. So where is the memory then? Where is the science to the memory? So is it possible to bring up every experience that we've ever memorized?
There's conflicting information on that as far as I know. So there is a school of thought that our brain is not capable of deleting anything. So everything is in there somewhere, because it's like almost like a hard drive. You write it onto your brain, so it's somewhere in there. It might be really, really impossible to dig out, but if it's been put in, you can't rub it out unless you get brain damage, in which case then obviously that bit of your brain dies, that bit of the hard drive's broken. And then others say that we've got a literally like a hard drive, a very limited capacity. And once you exceed capacity, the brain starts deleting things by priority of what's least important, and how it works that out, I have no idea. But, and this is why stuff we don't remember, and we say, oh, I don't have the memory space to remember that. I don't know what that is, because in your mind, it's not a priority. It's not something that you're going to hang on to. Whereas other bits, people are like, how do you know that? And it's just one of the things that's stuck in my brain forever.
But where is the memory stored? So
It
is
is.
it
I
stored
can't tell
in
you
the
exactly, but
brain?
it's there is a section of the brain. There is an area of the brain specifically for memory. There is one section. So if you damage that section, which is where you get people who suffer from amnesia, it's because of that exact area of the brain being damaged.
So
But are you asking if it's in the flesh or if it's in the
yeah,
liquid
so
of the brain?
100 years from now, they're going to find a fossilized brain and they're going to be able to layer it out and then stick a couple of magnets on it and it goes into a supercomputer that have all the memories. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
I mean, if they do, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
I think that's a film to make, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that memory is pretty dead by that stage, pretty dried out. I think like you said, you need a squidgy brain for that to work. Brain has to still be wet.
Or is it not in the brain?
Well,
is
where
it
else
something completely unconceivable? So I can remember reading something about someone explaining the chances of extraterrestrials, like aliens, for instance. Mm-hmm. And they were saying, just take thought to this, that there are aliens here right now among us. Every day you're walking past one. But we don't have the process in our mind, like an X-ray picks up X-rays, gamma ray picks up gamma rays, etc. We don't have the senses or the process in our mind to actually fabricate them being there.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So what if a memory is in something we can't even fabricate that is there?
I mean, yeah, possible. But the only thing I would say is that we have done the scans, but we have the ability to, let's say, me say to you, think about your childhood and scan your brain and see it do very specific things.
Yeah,
where if I did it to 10 people, the same activity would be present.
But what if that energy is coming from somewhere else? So for instance, lights, take a fairy lights. Mm-hmm. You can see where the bulb lights up. You can see, you could photograph that on and off switch, but it's not the fairy light that brings the energy, is it? You have to have it plugged into some source. So what if the memory is coming from somewhere else?
Well, I think the fairy light is the brain and the power is the body, because once you die, then the brain dies and the bulb goes out. But I hear what you're saying.
What if that power goes somewhere else? After you die.
Well, and that we don't know. But there we go. So the power might go somewhere else. Well, you're asking what goes somewhere else, because do the memories go with whatever goes if it goes somewhere? Yeah. Now we're talking. So now I don't know, because then you're saying that memories are part of the, let's use the word soul for the sake of everyone kind of following along. Because then if we know where the memories are, does that mean we now know where the soul is?
So I last week we said about things that have affected us, or it might have even been the week before now, about things that have affected us massively in our life. And one of the things I said was losing my parents. And for instance, my dad was my best friend. It's the person I spent the most time with, everything else. And I hold on to a romantic idea that he's beyond the veil now. His spirit, energy, memory, whatever it is living beyond the veil, and it's just we don't have a way of crossing over. But maybe every now and then there's a rainbow, and that's him communicating from behind the veil. But as time has gone on, and I've educated myself on different things, spoken to different people, I'm thinking actually less and less of that. That your spirit, your energy goes somewhere, but when it goes, it leaves behind what it was, who it was, the identity in that. But I'm caught in a conundrum. I don't know. I like the idea of being romantic about it.
Yeah, well, no, I think what gets left behind is your ripple effect on the world. So, for example, a bit of your dad is left in you and in your kids and in everyone he's ever spoke to and touched, because it's affected everyone differently. And he's reached, everyone reaches a different amount of people. We couldn't ever comprehend how far out our actions reach. And I think that's what you leave behind. And again, when people ask about like the meaning of life, I think that's part of it, is to just make sure you leave a nice ripple. You leave a good touch on the world, so that when you go to wherever we go next, if we go anywhere, you've done your part. You've left your stamp on this world.